Welcome to A One Storyteller, where we dive into the heart of human experiences, unraveling tales that inspire, challenge, and move us. Today we bring you a gripping narrative of justice, courage, and the fight against prejudice. This story will take you on an emotional journey, highlighting the resilience of the human spirit and the power of truth. So, fasten your seatbelts and prepare to be captivated by the flight of truth. The cabin lights dimmed as the plane cruised smoothly at 3,5,000 feet. Passengers settled into their seats, some dozing off, others engrossed in books or movies. The flight attendants moved efficiently through the aisles, ensuring everyone's needs were met. Among them was Emily Carter, a seasoned attendant known for her meticulous attention to detail and no-nonsense attitude. In the middle of the cabin, a young black girl named Maya sat with her mother, Sarah. They were returning home from a family vacation, excited to share their adventures with friends and family. Maya, a bright 12-year-old with a passion for reading, had spent most of the flight buried in a novel. As Emily made her way to the back of the plane to check on the passengers, she noticed something that caught her eye. A small, expensive-looking watch lay on the floor near Maya's seat. Emily's heart raced. She knew that watch belonged to one of the first-class passengers, Mr. Thompson, who had reported it missing just minutes earlier. Without a second thought, Emily approached Maya's seat. "Excuse me, young lady," she said sternly. "Did you see this watch anywhere near here?" Maya looked up from her book, startled. "No, ma'am, I haven't seen it," she replied, her voice trembling slightly. Emily's eyes narrowed. "Are you sure? Because this watch was reported missing, and it was found right next to you." Maya's eyes widened in fear. "I swear I didn't take it. I've been reading my book the whole time." Emily's expression hardened. "I'm going to need to see your bag, please." Maya's mother, Sarah, intervened. "Excuse me, but my daughter is telling the truth. She hasn't left her seat since we boarded." Emily ignored her. "I need to see her bag, ma'am. This is standard procedure." Reluctantly, Sarah handed over Maya's small backpack. Emily rummaged through it, her face growing more suspicious with each item she pulled out. Finally, she zipped it back up and handed it back to Sarah. "I'm going to have to report this to the captain," she said coldly. "You understand?" Sarah's face turned pale. "You can't do this. My daughter is innocent." Emily walked away without another word, leaving Sarah and Maya in a state of panic. The captain, a stern man named Captain Reynolds, listened to Emily's account with a furrowed brow. "Are you sure about this, Emily?" he asked. Emily nodded firmly. "Positive, Captain. The watch was found right next to her seat. She's the only one who could have taken it." Captain Reynolds sighed. "All right. I'll have to call the police when we land. We can't take any chances." As the plane descended, the tension in the cabin grew palpable. Maya sat with her head in her hands, tears streaming down her face. Sarah tried to comfort her, but she was also on the verge of tears. When the plane finally landed, the police were already waiting at the gate. Emily led them to Maya and Sarah, her expression cold and unyielding. "Is this the girl you're accusing?" asked the police officer, a tall man with a stern face. "Yes," Emily replied. "She stole a watch from one of the passengers." The officer turned to Maya. "Do you have anything to say for yourself, young lady?" Maya looked up, her eyes filled with fear and determination. "I didn't do it. I swear I didn't." The officer nodded. "We'll get to the bottom of this. Come with us, please." At the police station, Maya and Sarah were led to a small, sterile room. The officer, whose name was Officer Johnson, sat across from them, his face expressionless. "Can you tell me what happened?" he asked Maya gently. Maya took a deep breath. "I was reading my book the whole time. I didn't see the watch until the flight attendant found it. I didn't take it." Officer Johnson nodded, jotting down notes. "And you, ma'am?" he asked Sarah. Sarah spoke up, her voice shaking. "My daughter is telling the truth. She's never been in trouble before. She's a good girl." Officer Johnson looked thoughtful. "All right, let's get to the bottom of this. We'll need to speak to the flight attendant and the passenger who reported the watch missing." As they waited, Maya and Sarah clung to each other, their hearts heavy with fear and uncertainty. Meanwhile, at the airport, the police chief, Chief Martinez, was reviewing the case. He had a reputation for being thorough and fair, and he wasn't about to let an innocent person be wrongfully accused. He called Emily and Mr. Thompson into his office. "Can you both explain what happened?" he asked. Emily recounted her version of events, her voice unwavering. "I found the watch next to her seat. She's the only one who could have taken it." Mr. Thompson nodded. "Yes, that's right. I reported it missing and the flight attendant found it right next to her." Chief Martinez looked skeptical. "Did you see her take it, Mr. Thompson?" "No, but it was found next to her," he replied. Chief Martinez turned to Emily. "And you're certain she's the one who took it?" Emily nodded firmly. "Positive." Chief Martinez leaned back in his chair, deep in thought. Something about the story didn't add up. He decided to take a closer look at the evidence. Chief Martinez returned to the police station, his mind racing. He had a hunch, and he needed to test it. He called Maya and Sarah back into the room. "Can I see the watch again?" he asked Emily. Emily handed it over, her expression confident. "This is the one." Chief Martinez examined it closely. "Interesting," he muttered. "Can you tell me where you found it?" Emily pointed to a spot on the floor, right there next to her seat. Chief Martinez nodded. "And you're sure she didn't move from her seat the entire flight?" Maya shook her head. "I didn't. I was reading my book the whole time." Chief Martinez's eyes narrowed. "Let's take a look at the security footage." The security footage revealed a shocking truth. As the plane had taxied to the gate, a young boy sitting a few rows behind Maya had leaned over and dropped the watch on the floor next to her seat. Emily, who had been focused on her duties, hadn't seen it. Chief Martinez rewound the footage and played it again. "There," he said, pointing to the screen. "See? The boy dropped the watch. Maya never left her seat." Emily's face turned pale. I didn't see that." Chief Martinez turned to her. "You didn't see it because you were too busy making assumptions. You accused an innocent girl based on nothing more than her race and your own prejudices." Emily's eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to." Chief Martinez shook his head. "Your apology won't bring back the hours this girl spent in fear and humiliation. But it's a start." Maya and Sarah were released from the police station, their hearts filled with a mix of relief and anger. They had been through a traumatic experience, but they were grateful for the truth that had finally come to light. Emily was suspended from her job pending an investigation. The airline issued a formal apology to Maya and her family, acknowledging the harm that had been done. Maya's story made headlines, sparking a conversation about prejudice and the importance of fairness. People from all walks of life rallied around her, offering support and encouragement. In the weeks that followed, Maya and her family took steps to ensure that justice was served. They filed a lawsuit against the airline and Emily, seeking compensation for the emotional distress they had endured. The case drew national attention, highlighting the need for systemic change. Maya became an advocate for equality, using her experience to raise awareness about the dangers of prejudice. She spoke at schools, community events, and even on national television, sharing her story and inspiring others to stand up against injustice. Emily, on the other hand, faced the consequences of her actions. She was fired from her job and faced a public backlash. Many people called for her to face legal charges, but ultimately the decision was left to the courts. As time passed, Maya and her family began to heal. The lawsuit was settled in their favor, providing some measure of justice. Maya continued to thrive, her spirit unbroken by the ordeal. She returned to school, where she was greeted with hugs and words of support from her friends and teachers. She became a symbol of courage and resilience, inspiring others to stand up for what was right. Zara, too, found strength in the experience. She became an advocate for her daughter, working tirelessly to ensure that no other child would have to face the same injustice. Years later, Maya stood in front of a crowd, her voice strong and confident. She had grown into a young woman with a passion for justice and a determination to make a difference. She spoke about her experience, her words filled with hope and resilience. Today I stand before you as a testament to the power of truth and the importance of standing up against prejudice, she said. We must never forget the lessons of the past. We must always strive for justice, for equality, and for a world where everyone is treated with respect and dignity. The crowd erupted in applause, their hearts moved by her words. Maya smiled, knowing that her journey was far from over. She had faced adversity and emerged stronger, her spirit unbroken. Thank you for joining us on this journey with A1 Storyteller. We hope the flight of truth has left you inspired and moved. Remember, every story has the power to change the world. Stay tuned for more gripping tales that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep fighting for justice. This is A1 Storyteller signing off.